Hello, everyone, and welcome to the HP Podcast, episode number 370. I'm Ben, and with me here today is the beautiful, I would dare even say dazzling, David. Hello,
Hello.
Dave. How are you? Have you ever been described as dazzling?
Dazzling, no, that's the first time.
Hmm.
Dazzling Dave. I think I'm gonna go with that as my. I'm kind of in like uh display name limbo right now, where like every time I start a new game that's online and I have to pick a display name, like
Yeah,
I had like CSF Dave for a long time,
right.
and then I had like Dave Lamcan for a while. I've been using Wavy Davy a little bit, but that one's tough to come by. I snagged it in the division yesterday. I'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But Dazzling Dave, that could be a new one. Oh, it's a good one. I like
What's
the
wrong with your old
alliteration.
ones? Like with CSF Dave, for instance?
I don't know.
You outgrew it.
It's just three letters and then my name. It's kind of dumb. It stands for Canadian Special Forces.
Yeah.
And if you hear, you're like, oh, cool, you served? No,
No,
me
I
and
just
like
liked it.
three friends, we all had that same name for the original Ghost Recon, and then it just kind of stuck for a long time. But then I retired it, so I don't know.
A funny kind of adjacent story to that. So most people know I ran for mayor. I was the mayor of my town. When I was running, I just was like on some political sign clip art page, and for my signs that I put out, use this emblem. And I didn't know why, but people just kept asking me over and over and over, did you serve? When did you serve? Where were you? I was like, oh no, because whatever emblem I picked was like slightly reminiscent of a military emblem, but it's not actually. But it looked enough like it that people mistook it as one. So I wasn't that wasn't intentional on my part. It was honestly just I'm not a good graphic designer and stole some art from somewhere. It was actually stolen valor by the very definition, but it was accidental stolen valor.
It it is pretty cool. I've been in the States a few times where I've seen people who've served walking around, or I guess are actively serving, walking
Hmm.
around in like their fatigues or whatever they're wearing to identify themselves as a veteran or a member of the armed forces. And it's pretty cool to see people like just walking up to them and thanking them.
Yeah,
Like that doesn't really happen here, but it is something that I can kind of appreciate.
yeah,
So it's definitely want to be careful anytime you
yeah.
almost mistakenly identify yourself as someone who served in the army. But
What exactly is it that they would thank Canadian military for?
exactly, what have you done lately? Um, I don't know. We make a big deal out of it for like Remembrance Day in
Yeah,
November.
yeah.
And that's when, you get the guys who come out who I mean, there aren't many left who served in World War II, but
Right.
there are some, and that's when they really kind of get the praise. But I don't know. You don't really see people walking around in fatigues
Yeah,
at the supermarket like you would in, like, I've seen in, like, upstate New York or whatever. But I think people would just kind of be confused
yeah,
and maybe a little worried, you know?
yeah. That makes sense. If you ever I do feel like even if you're totally law-abiding citizen, when you go somewhere and you see like a large group of military, or like that you can identify as military, there is a little bit of a oh, like what's going on?
Yeah.
Even if it's just because they're like on break from training drills or something like that. They're ROTC, they're like high schoolers, and you're still like, oh, what's going on? But yeah, there is a um, pretty good culture about thanking people for their service. Whatever you think about military or war or whatever, like the people who are serving are doing it for good reasons, hopefully. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
It gets a
uh,
bit weird with like flyovers, and
yeah,
I didn't really think much of it. But like I'm a sports fan, so
hmm,
I'll be watching a football game with my wife will be sitting there, and there's like a bomber that does a flyover before the game, and everybody freaks out, and it's such a rah rah moment. My wife's sitting there, and she's like, "This is so
terrifying.
weird," And it's like from her not her, but more her like her older siblings who like actually grew up
Yeah,
in a country that was had that stuff happening,
right.
but from you'd hear it and your reaction was much different. So I think it's just for some people they see that and they're kind of like, well, this is not something to celebrate.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's all about perspective, you know?
right.
It's yeah, interesting way to look
Yeah, I
at
feel like
things.
if you're on your home turf and your own planes fly over, it's a feeling of comfort, maybe.
Yeah.
Um, but if you're somewhere where planes have flown over and it's not been comforting, then I can understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of not comforting, Dave, I shared this with you earlier, but I just have to tell the audience. And by the way, chat, hello, welcome on in. I see a few of you here. Grief, nice of you to take a break from love and sex. Appreciate that. I saw it earlier in the Discord, and I was like, I gotta mention it on the show. Um, I broke my monitor today. So that's the short story. The long story is I got a new monitor and I was moving my older monitors. I have 4 monitors now, by the way. I was moving my old monitors to a rig above my monitor and just totally smashed one of them. So now I have to buy a new monitor. And I was very upset at first for like 30 seconds. And then I was like, calm down. There's nothing you could do about it now. That monitor was dying anyway. Part of the reason you got the new monitor. It was probably going to go soon. You can get a cheap monitor. So like, it really sucks that happened, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, well, can get something just as good or better now. I don't know that I need. I don't know. Dave, you are also a multi-monitor fan? I know you have now mounted a TV above your desk. You have multiple monitors. Do you
So
sympathize with me? Or are you
I
like my
do.
son who says, "Why do you need 4 monitors?"
No, 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 no. I get it. And so I'm not in a position yet where I'm like I need more, but like for the longest time I had one monitor and then I had my laptop up on like a stand. And the laptop
Mhm.
was really just there for like Twitch and I was
Yeah,
just working off one monitor. But just back in the fall, I finally upgraded, so I've got now 2 monitors and then I've got TV above me which is almost always on Twitch or some hockey game or football game or something. And it's life changing. I can't imagine going back to one monitor.
yeah,
um just from like a productivity standpoint and multitasking, but
yeah,
I think about what I'm doing to my eyes
yeah.
with all these lights and like stimuli around me, and I'm pretty sure my sleep has gotten worse since
Oh
I
yeah,
switched to this. Probably because my brain is just like fucking flickering constantly. But you sent me a picture of your setup, and the amount of screens is impressive, but that widescreen is pretty cool.
yeah.
It's that's the one thing I think I'm actually jealous of. But
It's really nice because I'm used to using 3 monitors side by side, but this one monitor fulfills that. It's a 49-inch ultra widescreen, which is really cool. It's also OLED, which I didn't have an OLED before, at least on a monitor, and so like I very much appreciate it. But I really think that having the other monitors is cool. But I'm also like, there's part of me that's like, what are you going to put up there? Like, how many windows do you need? But I assure everyone who might be worried about this that I will find a way. I will find something to do. Ed Passapixel says we are also force screening it. It's really good to hear. I made this joke on Twitter the other day, but my son came into my office and was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm getting my desk ready for the 4th monitor." He's like, "A 4th monitor? Why do you need a 4th monitor?" And at that moment, I decided that I might need to do a paternity test because that sounds like something my wife would say, but not like something I would say. So here we are
did you get the warranty?
on the new one.
Yeah,
No, and here's what we've talked about warranties before, haven't we?
I don't think so.
I've talked about warranties on a podcast. It was probably an LSM podcast that I did a long, long time ago. I'm not a believer in warranties because every time I have ever bought a warranty and tried to use it, they've given me some reason why I can't. Like something about whatever I did or whatever was wrong with it or whatever wasn't covered. Um, so I bought it on Amazon. And does the TV count in the 4 monitor setup? Yeah, absolutely. If you're using it as a
It's a screen.
monitor, yeah, it's a screen. Um, but they've always given me a reason. My dad, like 2 years ago, bought a TV and it just went. It just like went. He had bought the Walmart warranty, which I know isn't as good as some warranties, but it's a warranty. It's the only one that was offered, and it just like went out like after a week of using it. No damage, no nothing. And they were like, they told him they couldn't do anything. So he contacted the manufacturer. They told him they couldn't do anything. Every warranty I've ever gotten, big or small, I've ever had to use it, which is very few times in fairness, but they've never honored it. So this monitor has like a 3 or 5 year warranty. Plus, I bought it from Amazon, and they're almost kind of like the old days of Walmart, where you can pretty much, if there's something wrong, they'll make it right eventually. So I'm not too worried about it, but it did cross my mind. The only thing I still pay for is Apple Care on my Mac because it's like $80 a year or something, and that computer was expensive, and Apple's really good about warranties. So
They try to scare you into buying it, and I worked at Staples Business Depot for 4 years, and that was my first experience with really kind of selling warranties.
yeah,
And I learned pretty quick that the reason that they push you so hard to sell them is because 99% of the time it's pure profit.
absolutely. It's like
Meaning that,
insurance.
yeah, it's not used, and when you attempt to use it, it's, you get the no. But I think, I'm with you. If it comes with a manufacturer's warranty for something that isn't like mobile,
Mhm,
I think I'm okay with your choice to not purchase the warranty on your 49-inch ultra wide.
mhm.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, it's
my favorite was the GameStop warranties.
Oh yeah.
I think I bought one once, and I don't remember why I did, but I did. And it's the stupidest thing. Like,
Yeah.
but they hammered it home every time, which means that people were buying them, scared parents were buying them, and the
Right.
profit added up over the years for GameStop.
I'm sure it did, and I remember always turning them down. Maybe I don't even know if I did it one time, but I remember thinking like, what could possibly go wrong that I would want a warranty for on this game? Like, what is it that I would be getting warranted? I guess the disc could break. I don't know. The game is if the game doesn't work, a lot of times if it's on a mass scale, they'll take it back. But other than that, you're out of luck. You buy the game, you don't like it, too bad.
Yeah. That was always my thing. I was like, if I take this game home and it doesn't work, I'm bringing it back, and
Right.
they're going to take it by and large. So
Right.
what other situation would this actually be of use to me?
Yeah.
Don't buy warranties, people.
Agreed.
I guess car warranty is the one, but that's always just kind of there.
Yeah, it's like the manufacturer's warranty is good enough for me on most instances. And then
The
I
more
mean,
the more it moves, the more you need a warranty.
yeah, a car too. You have to have insurance. So like most things, there's a chance something goes wrong with the internals of a car, right? If you get a warranty to cover a new car, it's unlikely that you'll even need it. But that's what insurance is for. For those, for other stuff, it's I've known of people who got home warranties, and I think those sometimes can pan out because you can get it pretty cheap, and then like if your water heater goes, you can get a cheaper replacement. That may be worth it, but I've never done that, and also never been bitten by not doing it. So I just haven't had an instance where I'm like, man, a warranty would have been really good here, because all the times I have bought warranties, they've always failed on me.
I bought a
My
warranty
first Apple Watch that I bought the Apple Care on, and I've been a believer in Apple Care ever since then because
I've
I
heard
literally
that, yeah.
fell and smashed it, and they were like, "Cool, send it back. We'll send you a new one." And I had it in like a week, and it worked. Like it was accidental. It was my fault,
Right.
and they still replaced it.
Yeah, the more it moves. A phone, that's a good warranty purchase. I bought a warranty on a dishwasher. Now that doesn't move, but it's
Yeah.
got lots of moving parts. And the more complicated and like convenient they've become, I bought an LG. Uh, I just kind of decided that
Yeah.
that was a good purchase.
Few comments about warranties in the chat. Radix says, "Aren't you guys too upper class for warranties?" No,
Do rich people not buy warranties?
I don't think it's a matter of being upper class. I think it's I'm too practical to spend money on it. So that would make me lower class, I would imagine. I'm too cheap to buy a warranty, but I also know it won't work.
Real wealthy people are very cheap.
That's true. Yeah. Pastor Pixel says, "I realize I technically have 5 monitors because of the 2 TVs." And then he says, "The only reason people buy those warranties is because workers would sneak it onto the receipts." I had a coworker when I worked at Sam Goody way back in the day when I was in high school that we had like a membership program. And in fairness, I know like the company's out of business now. I'm not doing anybody any favors by saying this. That membership program was actually worth it if you shopped at Sam Goody more than like once or twice a year. Like it totally made up for it. But anyway, people would say no to it. And it was like $15 and he would sneak it on to large purchases. And I was always like, dude, you can't do that. But he would always get like top marks in selling the memberships. So
When I worked at Staples all those years, I primarily worked in the office furniture department, and the vast majority of our sales were chairs. And
yeah,
our big thing was on moving warranties was if you buy the warranty, we'll build the chair for you.
yeah,
And 90% of the time, that was like, okay, sure, I'll just throw it in my car and I get a warranty, and we'd
right,
spend an hour building it. It's perfect.
yeah,
But they weren't buying it for the warranty; they were buying it
right,
for the, because you're building your chair for them, and they don't have to worry about all the garbage and shit like that.
right,
And
yeah.
yeah.
Um, yeah, that's definitely a thing. It's like Home Depot. I've seen before, like when I've gone online to shop at Home Depot, they have like have an expert install it. I think Amazon even does that for some stuff, like have an expert install it, and it's like an object that doesn't need installed. I'm like, what are you gonna come in and open the box for me? I don't know. Grease says I've had warranties from Walmart and managed to get them to work since they seem to be through a Shurion, same as Amazon. What tends to occur though is that the product breaks after 2 years. Yeah, so it's just totally worthless. Um,
They
yeah,
definitely factor in planned obsolescence and the average time it's going to take for the thing to break in the warranty.
absolutely.
Yeah.
They have some like crazy. What's the word I'm looking for? Um, some accountant guy. What's the word? I don't know the right word. Some insane guy with math who's like figuring that stuff out for sure. Knows exactly how long it's going to be.
Yeah.
On average. This has been a rant, and we appreciate you guys sticking around. By the way, Brandon is usually here, our third member. He was not able to make it this week, but we will see him next week, hopefully. In the meantime, you can hang out with us on Discord at handsomephantom.com/discord, or you can go over to Patreon at patreon.com/handsomephantom and hang out with us there. If you want to go to Discord, it's totally free. Just come hang out with us, talk and chat, whatever. If you want to go on Patreon, you can get ad-free early access for the audio version, or you can watch us live here on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Ben is Handsome or the Handsome Phantom channels. That's about it. That's all the pitches I got. Past Pixel says, by the way, Best Buy Total is the GOAT if you have Apple Care. Best Buy Total is $180 a year. Apple Care is $14 a month. Keep that in mind with the next upgrade cycle. I do agree. The new Apple Care I don't love. The Apple Care I still have for my Mac is like a yearly payment. It used to be when I got my first Apple Watch, I paid like, I don't know, $160 or something like that. Or maybe it was less than that to cover it for 5 years. And I ended up replacing it once when I broke it. I ended up replacing it a second time just because the warranty was almost up and I wanted them to replace it, and I paid nothing extra. But I think Apple Care has more moved on to the subscription model now. Dave, should we talk about some video games now, or just keep talking about like whatever we feel like?
Let's do it.
Okay. Metacritic, the good, the bad, the ugly, right? They came out with their 16th annual game publisher rankings. The publishers are ranked from worst to best in the gallery based on a point system calculated according to the following 4 factors: average Metascore for all games released in 2025, percentage of scored points with good reviews, or products with good reviews, percentage of scored products with bad reviews, number of great titles, and it goes like this. We don't want to go through all of them. Do you want to go through the top 5 or so? Or just where do you want to go?
If you go down to the bottom, you can just kind of rattle off like the top 5.
Yeah, let's do that. According to these rankings that they set out, Square Enix got number 1. Last year they were number 6. Their average Metascore in 2025 was 84. They had 19 products with 9 titles, 100% good, 0 bad, 1 great game, and their best 2025 game was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Gamir Games, don't know who Gamir Games is. They did Absalom, but I don't know what else they did. Previous year's rank 6. I don't know, how did that work? They got 6 and so did Square Enix. Maybe they were tied. I don't know. They had 5 products, 5 titles with an 82 average Metascore, 0 great games. Okay, mind you, they were able to pull it off with no great games. And yeah, their best game was Absalom with an 87. Radix says the PC version of Rebirth. Technically, that is true. It is the PC version. Did it score higher, Radix, than the PS5 version? That'd be shocking to me. Not shocking, just unusual. Capcom came in number 3. They were number 2 last year or the year before. Their average Metascore was 83. They had 93% of them were good, but 0% were bad. One great game, which was Monster Hunter Wilds, came in at 90. That game really had a fall from grace, didn't it? People started hating on that game pretty quickly. Thunderful, one of my personal favorites. They weren't even on the list the year before. They had an average Metascore of 78 with 10 products, 6 titles total. Their best new game in 2025 was Islanders New Shores. Radix says 92 on PS5, 90 on PC. Okay, so that was 2024 when that came out on PS5, 2025 when it came out on PC. I got it. And then Dave, big shocker here. Number 5, Microsoft. With they bumped up. They were at 9 before. They moved up to number 5. Average Metascore of 80. Best 2025 game, Forza Horizon 4, Forza Horizon 5 for the PS5. It was pretty good on Xbox as well, to be fair. Honorable mentions: Take-Two Interactive, Sega, Electronic Arts, Dotemu, and Raw Fury round out the top 10. Dave, what do you make of this? Is this line up with your experience personally?
I saw this story, and I the only reason I had to click it was because I wanted to confirm that Capcom was number 1. I just think Capcom can do no wrong, and I've said that before. But they weren't number 1, but they were close. And apparently Metacritic's been doing this for 16 years, and I don't know, it just hasn't been on my radar before. But I really like this. It's a bit of fun. It's a very analytical ranking based on completely subjective opinions. Or subjective, content. So, it's fun to see this. And the past winners, 2025 Sega, 2024 Capcom, 2023 Sony, and so on. Ubisoft was in the top 10, believe it or not. And it kind of made me reflect a little bit. I'm sorry. I'm going to talk a little bit about Ubisoft in the show. It just happened.
Please do.
But I think their 2025 was a nice step forward after their pretty shit 2024. So it was good to see them in the top 10. I think they got like number 9.
They got number 11, actually.
Number 11. Okay, sorry. Close to the top 10 is what I meant to say.
Hey, their best scoring game, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora.
The DLC From the Ashes.
Oh, it was the DLC?
Yeah.
I didn't even catch that.
2024 was the previous year, but they had Assassin's Creed this year, which was pretty good. Anno was a big one, Prince of Persia. So I think they kind of had some safe bets this year, safer bets, and they're shaping up to hopefully have another strong 2026. But it's nice to see them there. Microsoft, I thought, was funny because their 2 best games from a Metacritic standpoint were both PS5 releases, with Forza Horizon and the DLC for Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And then the notable thing for the Square Enix is in 16 years, that was the first time they ever ranked number 1 on that list.
Yeah.
You'd think one year they would have got it, but good for them for finally getting on there. So yeah, it's a bit of fun. The list is really long. So if you check it out, there's like over 30 rankings. Sony number 21, Annapurna's on there. Bandai Namco is number 24. So
yeah, that's interesting to me, especially with Night Rain. It didn't wait to score high enough up apparently because of all the other stuff they published. Annapurna, I think they were number 10 the year before that. They were number 23 last year.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but it seems like it may have had something to do with their entire staff quitting because of some leadership changes and everything. I would say that's probably a high likelihood. Interesting to see Sony down as far as they are on the list, Atari with them, and then Bandai Namco, like you said, down there pretty low. The interesting one to me is Nacon / Daedalic, who did they just declare insolvency or something? They were at the very bottom of the list at number 20. No, They were right above Arc System Works at number 26. Um, they had previously been much lower than that. So interesting.
And don't nod. Don't forget about them, Ben.
Where are they at?
Number
They should be
16.
lower.
They had 69%.
It doesn't matter what you said. I was going to say they should be lower.
And their best game was Lost Records Bloomin' Rage Tape 1 for PC with 84 average.
Don't even know what that is.
So Phil does.
I once again, I just have to state, I don't not's fine. I just like ripping on, what's that game called?
So if Phil hadn't been such a stan for that series, do you think you would have the same level of hatred for it?
Phil became a stan after I hated it so much.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not saying it was because of it, but it did occur in that order. Yeah. Let's move on to the next story. Price changes for PS5, PS5 Pro, and PlayStation Portal Remote Player are coming April 2nd. That's tomorrow. If you got any time tonight, go out and get one if you want one. The PS5 is going to bump up to $649.99. Digital edition will be $50 cheaper, with the Pro going all the way up to 900 USD. Absolutely insane. I don't have the prices here for the portals, though. I do. $250. Okay, so it's going up about $50 too. Dave, this isn't the first time we've seen not only anybody raise their prices on consoles after they've been out a few years, but PlayStation raised their prices on consoles after it's been out 5 years now. What do you make of it?
PlayStation is now the last of the major hardware makers to raise their prices, I believe.
Well, technically, I mean, Switch 2 was more than Switch 1, but it hasn't raised its price. Yeah.
But didn't they they didn't do a price bump on Switch 1? They did stop production. Or slow.
They did not. No. It's always stayed at 300 since it on the original Switch since it came out.
Right. It's so I guess what I'm trying to get at is I guess we all saw this coming. But what really hit me and made this hurt was I don't know if you saw this, but somebody posted on Reddit a comparison of all the PlayStation consoles, their launch prices versus their price after 6 years. So, as you might expect, this is the first time in Sony's hardware gaming history that they've actually raised the price.
Yeah.
After this point in time, so PlayStation launched at $299, price after 6 years $99. PS2 launched at $299, price after 6 years $129. PS3, the one that had the most room to move, launched at $600, $269 6 years after launch. PS4, much more reasonable, $399. It was $200 6 years after launch. PS5 launched at $500 USD, and it's gone up to $650 6 years after launch. I said it last week. I'll say it again. It's real fucky times we live in economically. Yeah. Now, point of privilege. I own a PS5. I am not in the market for a PS5 Pro. I don't think I'm seriously in the market for a PS Pro Portal. So this doesn't really affect me, but it really kind of feels like the final nail in the next gen is going to be really, really expensive coffin.
Yeah.
And the thing that I wonder is, the longer you have a piece of gaming hardware on sale, the higher your margins get and the more money you're making on each unit sold. So for Sony to do this and for Microsoft to do this, it makes you wonder, like, how razor thin were those margins up to this point for them to have to do this? Because this is going to hurt your sales so badly. And you hope that you have enough adoption rate that it's not going to really kind of, you're not going to lose too many sales, but for them to do this, they must not have been making anything off of each piece of hardware that they were selling at the moment. So it's wild to see production costs kind of either stay flat or even go higher as we progress through a console generation. But I think at the beginning of the cycle, we had the memory shortage because of COVID, predictably, or sorry, not memory, it was processors. and then now we're dealing with the memory stuff because of AI.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a nightmare scenario, and it's really, I don't know, Sony, Microsoft, Valve, they got to be working real hard to make sure whatever they put in front of us for next gen is really, really, really going to justify that price tag. Because, you know, I've been saying for a long time it's starting at $1,000, but
Yeah.
are we talking 1,200, 1,500 USD for these things? It's going to be big.
Is that screaming on my end or your end? It's on your end. I was like, what's going on in my house here? Okay. Hopefully all is well. Yeah, it's kind of insane. And if you like in the past, we've talked about like, oh, well, yeah, that console costs, I'm making up numbers here, $300 in 1996. And now our consoles are $1,000. Like at least there was an inflation calculation there. When the PS5 came out in 2020 and cost $500, according to the usinflationcalculator.com, which is the source that it comes off of the US government CPI data, et cetera, et cetera. It's accurate, is what I'm saying. $500 in 2020 is $631 now. So it should still cost more than it did when it came out, assuming that costs haven't gone down to make the console. But it's way more now. And that's pretty startling information for sure. It's no longer just actually that's kind of close. It's within $20, but it's no longer just the amount of inflation year over year. It's actually that these parts are way bigger, way more costly. I don't know if I shared this or not. I know the information got shared very widely around right after GDC, but I had an opportunity to meet with some folks from Steam and got to go hands on with some different hardware, that like the Steam machine and the Steam frame and all that kind of stuff. It was really cool. But we just got talking about pricing and components, and I just asked them how it's been sourcing RAM and all that kind of stuff, and they were like, "We've had so many contracts," and they were saying like this openly in a public room. So I don't think this is anything I shouldn't share, but they were basically saying, we had multiple contracts secured, and they've all been canceled or astronomically raised in price or whatever. And like at this point, they're willing to go way higher. They'll have to pass it on, but they can't even find it in a lot of instances. They haven't secured enough to have as many available as they wanted to at launch. And they were making jokes all week about like, if you know anybody with some RAM, let us know. And it didn't feel like that much of a joke. Like it felt like a legitimate cry for help to some extent. I still have faith they'll pull it off. But one of the things they said to me was, we said we wanted to make it about the same price as an entry-level computer. And that's true. And it still is. But the problem is that an entry-level computer has gone up astronomically. And this will have to as well. So I don't have as much hope that the Steam machine is going to be, $500 anymore like I did when they announced it. I still think I want one. But it's just interesting how it's affecting the whole market and the whole world in reality, just based on a few different markets that are opening up. I'm trying to think of other times that has really happened. Like I would imagine that oil went up tremendously when the car was invented, but I don't know what past that you can really think of on a similar scale. And I'm just guessing that. I have no idea. So interesting to think about for sure. Anything further, Davey? No.
Negative. I wonder, did I wait too long to buy a PC? Like if I go to Costco right now, they generally have pretty good pre-builds. Am I fucked already?
I would say if you had bought it in December, you'd be in a better spot than you would be now. But if you wait until this December, you'll be in a worse spot.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it.
The best time to buy a PC is now. The next best time to buy it is
tomorrow.
Oh, wait. The best time to buy a PC was 6 months ago. The next best time is now. That's how the saying goes. Speaking of switching around price hikes and all that kind of stuff, Nintendo is going to charge less for digital Switch 2 games. This comes from The Verge. I also just want to point out, I like or don't like already how they're flipping this. It's not that they're going to charge more for physical games. They're going to charge less for digital games. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm just going to say it. The digital copy of Yoshi and the Mysterious Book costs $59.99 instead of $69.99. Nintendo's planning to start charging less for digital titles exclusive to the Switch 2 starting in May, the company announced on Wednesday. The new pricing is already in effect for Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, which costs $59.99 to pre-order a digital copy and $70 for the physical version. In its announcement, Nintendo says both physical and digital copies of its Switch 2 games will offer the same experiences, adding that the price change simply reflects the different costs associated with producing and distributing each format. It's not clear if Nintendo is tweaking prices in other regions, however, as Yoshi and the Mysterious Book is still priced around $55, $56 in the UK version of Amazon. Nintendo notes that retail partners set their own prices for physical and digital games, and pricing for each title may vary. Now, Dave, I've always been a little confused and actually kind of pissed off that digital gamers are paying, even though I'm not a primarily digital purchaser, that digital purchases cost, when they're new, the same amount as physical, because you know that the physical copy had to have cost more. Even if it's pennies, it's costing something to produce it. And it's always felt a little bit weird to me. And then the savings come in if you care to buy a game after it's been out a little while, is that physical copies will usually go on sale, whereas digital copies, it takes a lot longer for them to happen, especially with Nintendo, although you don't really get many sales physical or digital either way. But generally, a year after an Ubisoft game comes out, you can find it for $20 in the Walmart special pricing rack, whereas it's still $60 on the PlayStation Store. So there's that. But this is interesting. I don't really think I have a problem with it, even as someone who does prefer physical. But what do you think? I know Switch is your only console you have physical. How do you feel?
It makes sense. Like logically, a game that doesn't require the physical components should cost more, and if you choose to want those physical components over just the digital file, then it seems to be a reasonable expectation for you to pay that extra cost. But I think it's important to, I know it doesn't really make people feel any better, but like it's not that the physical is getting the price increase, the digital is coming down. And I know that doesn't make it feel any better, especially if you're primarily a physical purchaser, but I do think that piece of context is important.
I want to interrupt you real quick to
Okay.
point out we've only had 2 or maybe 3 games on the Switch 2 that have cost $69.99. So it still kind of feels like the price is going up on physical because there haven't been that many with it. But I agree with what you're saying. It technically, the last 3 games were 70 digitally or physically.
Yeah, so the timing of this relative to the game's price increase overall is not great, but let's be naive and look at this in isolation and say, okay, this makes sense. But to speak to your example of discounts at retail for physical, I've actually seen the opposite, and I've started to play a fun little game where I will go to a Walmart and I will peruse down to the video game section, which is always way at the back. And over the past several years, it's gotten pretty sparse, and you can tell that the attention from the store merchandising standpoint to these areas has really kind of gone to the wayside. Like they've really started to shrink. But I'll see like Assassin's Creed Odyssey on the shelf for full price, and like Resident Evil 2 remake $50, and I'm like these are 20. Like I'm on the PS storefronts enough to know that like that's a $20 game that's on sale every week for $15 or something like that. So I've like the retailers that are just video gaming, GameStop, obviously they're much better, but I think the kind of more mainstream retailers have really kind of taken the focus away from that, and the pricing just isn't competitive anymore. So like for me, that kind of stuff plus lack of availability, I've had a lot of GameStops close in the neighborhoods that I've lived in, and it's just gotten so much easier. Plus the discount, the variety of discounts and sales on digital is so much better. So it's just like I like having the box, and I like kind of having that little display or whatever, but it's just like if I can get the game for $20 rather than 40 or 50, then why am I not going to do that? You know?
Yeah.
Um,
That
but
may have
yeah,
changed in recent years because, I mean, in fairness, I haven't really paid that much attention in the last few years, mostly because I've been primarily gaming on Steam. But it definitely used to be the case that I could walk into a store and find the game physically for $20 and it would still be full price on the store. But yeah, I believe what you're saying.
and you know what I miss most from that? I know I'm kind of getting off on a tangent, but I'm going to be nostalgic for a minute. But the bargain bins
Yeah.
have all but gone. And that's really what kind of hurts because that's where you would find like the gems.
Hmm.
But I think with these digital storefronts, that's one of the things that have really been killed. But what I am noticing is a lot more retro and mom and pop stores pop up, and
Okay.
that's where you find the bangers.
Yeah.
So I do really enjoy going into those places and picking up 3-4 games for $40
Yeah.
that I know I'm gonna play, and I'm gonna keep them. So um, yeah, sign of the times, but I don't know. I'm trying to think about this objectively, and it does make sense. So
Yeah.
hopefully, other retailers start to follow suit. Um, but we'll see.
Yeah. I guess so. Next up, I've just lost my screen. There it is. I don't know how I lost this giant screen, but it disappeared. I'm still getting used to the layout. The division. This is according to GameSpot. The Division 3 losing top boss is no big deal. Ubisoft says confirms Division 2 won't go free. Ubisoft's The Division 3 is moving ahead without executive producer Julian Garrity, who recently left the company to join EA to work on the Battlefield franchise. At the time, Ubisoft told fans they needn't worry about the Division 3 losing him, and now senior producer has, I'm not going to try to say his name, Frederick, has echoed that sentiment, saying the roadmap for the Division 3 had been planned and secured for some time already. Quote, Julian's departure isn't a distraction. We're happy for him and obviously sad to see him go. He was a friend. But as far as the Division 3 goes, we have our future and our roadmap that is already secure, and we know exactly where we're going and what we want to do. The Division 2 creative director Yannick Bonachera, I don't know, went on to say that he has zero doubt that Division will remain popular for at least another decade. It's all about having happy players and a thriving community. That's the main goal. If we have that, then eventually we'll be able to grow the player base and have a strong and thriving community when the Division 3 releases and continues growth from there. Dave, you mentioned earlier something about the Division. I assume maybe that's part of what we've been playing, but I know you're a Division fan. I have been wanting to get back into the Division 2, which maybe we should set that up. But how do you feel about this?
Julian Garrity was kind of I don't know if he was the brainchild of the division, but he was there since day one, and I felt like the wording here was a little bit disrespectful and backhanded
Yeah.
for saying like, don't worry about it, we don't need him. Um, so I don't know. I wasn't crazy about that, and I know they're crass Frenchmen, so maybe it was just kind of translated poorly or it came
Sure.
off bad. But I think uh, what it does suggest is Division 3 is closer than we think.
Hmm.
If they're saying, yeah, having our executive producer leave at this point in the project is not something that's going to hurt us, and we already have a roadmap, that kind of suggests that maybe this is coming within the next 12 months. So that's a nice little hint that this story suggests. Um, and when I think about like their statement about this is not that big of a deal for the project, like he was an executive producer, I think their role is much more critical in like the early and middle
Yeah.
parts of the project. But as you get closer to launch and that end product really starts to solidify, I think having that leading role is less impactful. So I don't think they're blowing smoke. I think this is legit. And I also think that Massive has done a really good job with Division 2 and the franchise as a whole. They have built a very strong core player base, and Division 2 came out several years ago. So we haven't talked about it a lot, but its stock has never been higher. It's doing real well, and that's just because they've done such a great job of growing this franchise and growing the Division 2 and giving the core players what they want. So, that's a really good recipe for being able to have a successful um, sequel. So, And it's also cool that like for the games as a service genre, this is really unique to have, you know, three entries. Normally we just get one that keeps kind of growing and growing and growing. But I think for them to be committed to having another entry, full born entry in the series is really cool. So I'm excited about this. The player counts do not lie. They've been solid for a long time, and they've only recently peaked. So I don't know. Division is doing no wrong right now, and they just released a mobile game, which we'll talk about in what we've been playing. But yeah, I'm despite Julian Garrity's departure, I think you know we have reason to be excited for what's coming next from Massive.
You just reminded me. I'm literally going to download the mobile game right now.
Hell yeah!
Give me a second. I totally forgot it even came out. When did it come out?
Yesterday,
Okay,
10 o'clock Eastern time.
it's downloading as we speak. Um, Dave, I agree with all of what you just said. I haven't been as into the series as you have, but I've respected it for a long time. I had a lot of fun playing the Division 2 when it first came out, and dropped it after I had completed most of the base content that was there. But I've had an urge to go back. I do find it funny. They said they won't ever make it free to play, and then like most of the time it's $2 on Steam right now. In fairness, when it comes to player bases and reviews and all that kind of stuff, there is a large gap between free to play and $2. So it is a meaningful thing to the people who are very into the game. But it's still funny to think about. Like, we're not going free to play, but we also just are giving the game away, basically. Um, cool. Anything else there, Dave?
Nothing.
IGN reports that Stellar Blade developer Shift Up has bought Resident Evil creator Shinji Mikami's new studio. For the first time in a while, I'll be fully involved on site to work on a fairly large game. Mikami, the legendary Japanese designer, also known for his work on Devil May Cry, Dino Crisis, and The Evil Within, founded Unbound after leaving Tango Gameworks prior to Microsoft's closure of the studio. The Hi-Fi Rush developer has since been acquired and reopened by PUBG owner Krafton. This new enterprise was born in 2022 and remained fully independent until now, having not released or revealed a project in that time. Speaking in an announcement video, Mikami teased that he was working on a fairly large game, insisting, "We're going to create a masterpiece of a game. I've come to see my vision and ideals more clearly, and I don't think I've ever been in a situation where, as a creator, our wavelengths and direction align this closely. So for as long as my career continues, I would really like to keep working together." According to a post on ShiftUp's website, Unbound is currently developing original PC and console-based IPs targeting the global markets. Dave, this is interesting. Shinji Mikami is obviously a legendary name and has worked on some of the greatest games and franchises in recent memory. I think it's pretty cool that somebody saw some promise there, and that they're going to be working together. And Shift Up seems to be probably poised for a decent next game. I know that Stellar Blade wasn't their first game, but it was their first like mainstream market game. So to see them move on to something bigger and maybe even something with Shinji Mikami is pretty cool. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean the first thing that came to mind for me was with all of these promising studios or studios with actual pedigree being gobbled up by like Tencent and Embracer and even Krafton, which was mentioned in the article there. It's nice to see one that actually kind of feels good.
Yeah,
And I think Shift Up and Shinji Mikami feels really good.
yeah,
Um, so Shinji Mikami, with Tango, I guess the last game he really worked on was Ghostwire.
yeah.
And I know he had some role in the legendary Hi-Fi Rush, but I think much more, you know, he was kind of in a support role. So to see him get back to work with something that is really going to be him and with support from a publisher who's going to let him be him, I think is something to be excited about. So hopefully we get to see whatever they're working on soon. But yeah, Shift Up, Stellar Blade, Shinji Mikami, it just kind of it rolls off the tongue. It sounds good. It
That's
sounds like
right.
it works. So I recently kind of got into the Devil May Cry series. I haven't finished playing all of them yet, but I kind of have a new respect for the man and some of the work that he does. And with Shift Up kind of cutting their teeth and breaking onto the scene with Stellar Blade, it again, it just feels right.
Yeah, agreed. Well, Dave, do you want to move on to what we've been playing? I didn't fill mine out here. I'll do that while you're talking.
Sure. So I guess I'll start.
Yeah.
I've mostly been playing more of the Ascent. Nothing new to say there, except that I'm almost done the story, and I'll be moving on to cleanup so I can finish the platinum for the Ascent. Um, I haven't. So Division Resurgence came out yesterday on mobile, and I didn't get as much time to play as I would have liked. So I'll probably reserve more of my thoughts for next week when I have more time into it. But I guess my initial thoughts are the good is they nailed the feel. It's just like with Destiny Rising, where it didn't feel like something that wasn't Bungie. This feels like a Division game where, the cover shooting feels on point. The skills feel very Division, though they're somewhat different. So there's new stuff to play with. The shooting feels great. The inventory management feels great. And everything's kind of scaled to mobile, which I think is key. So there's little tweaks here and there that make your inventory management easier on your phone, whether you're using touchscreen or I'm using my controller.
Yeah.
So yeah, that feel right off the bat is good. Um, I love that we're back in New York in the winter. I love the Division 2, but there was something about that winter Manhattan
Yeah.
feel that was really kind of lost, and I think a lot of people feel that way about the Division 2 from like a setting standpoint, so it's cool to be back. It's set shortly after the events of the first game. You meet Lao, which if you play Division, she'll be a recognizable character, and she kind of gives you a rundown of like all the different like factions that they ran through as part of the first game, and you're sort of picking up the pieces after that. So it's kind of cool that you're seeing some new lore on the dollar flu and kind of the rebuilding of Manhattan in the United States after that in
Hmm.
the aftermath. So it's cool that way. There were some new gameplay mechanics that have come across in kind of the early stages. Like there's a mini game where you have to like defuse a bomb, and that's not the kind of thing that you would have done in the main game. So I like that they've experimented with and it uses the touchscreen controls. So they're using the platform to try some new stuff. It's nothing like it doesn't get in the way. It's nothing silly, but it's just something a little bit different. So I like that. Um, and yeah, I think again, haven't spent much time with it, so hopefully I have more to say about the systems and kind of the overall gameplay loop. I will say that for the bad, I've had a lot of technical issues. I've had a lot of connection drops. Um, I've had moments where a whole bunch of assets or enemies won't load in, or like missions will just kind of glitch out and I have to restart the game to get to the checkpoint I'm supposed to be at. Um, yeah. So just some technical stuff that I don't know if it's fair to say that it's to be expected on day one of a game like this, because
Yeah.
this game has been in development for a pretty long time and it's Ubisoft, so I can't not admit that I'm a little disappointed with the experience to this point, but it's not enough for me to be like I'm not going to pick up this game for a month. Like I want to keep playing despite kind of some of the technical issues I've had. Um, so yeah, I mean, as I said, haven't had a whole lot of time in it, and I'll probably speak more on it next week, and hopefully you'll have tried it out too, and you can speak to it. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's Division Resurgence so far.
Nice. Yeah, I need a game to play on the toilet, Um, that's what mobile gaming's for, in my opinion.
There you go.
Um, cool. Yeah, that sounds good. I'm really interested in the different mechanics, like you mentioned the bomb defusal game. I'm interested to see how that works out for sure. I've been playing a few different things. One I just played for oh my goodness, Boots just gifted a bunch of subscriptions. I don't even know how many. It's not telling me how many. Looks like 5, 10, maybe way more. I don't know. They just keep
Boots.
going.
Wow.
Boots, thank you very much for that. We appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I really hate that it's not telling me how many because they just keep coming in. This seems like a thing that was too nice, Boots. 20 gift memberships. Thank you, Boots. I appreciate that very much. You've been around for a long time. We don't see your name in chat very often, but I know you've been here. So appreciate it. Thanks for that. It's so weird, by the way, because like I'm used to streaming. I've streamed plenty in the past, and like getting subs and gift subs and stuff like that is always nice, but it's you're accustomed to it because you're expecting it. But like when you're just doing a podcast, like I'm literally just sitting here talking to Dave about video games, it's really weird for gift subs to come in. So very much appreciate it, Boots. Thank you very much. That's huge. We appreciate it. Good guy Boots with the $100. There was more. Was there another $100 or that is the 100? I'm just gonna say, Boots, whatever you just gifted, we appreciate it. I'll look at it after stream and see fully what it is. I don't even have all the alerts set up properly on this streaming software for the podcast because we're so, like it's not normal. So we appreciate it. Thank you very much, Boots.
Thank you, Boots.
Boots. Do you did you ever listen to the Easy Allies podcast back in the day?
No.
Well, Boots was a one of the I believe this is the same Boots. It has to be one of the people who during their sponsor segment they would always be reading the names. It'd be like Dave Lambden, Ben Smith, Boots, and just like I don't know. So appreciate it. Dice with Death is a game I've been playing. I've only played a little bit of it last night. It's a roguelike deck builder essentially. But instead of cards and you get items and stuff like that to build up your inventory. You're playing a game of dice with death. There are multiple characters that you can play with, but you roll dice, you bank the ones that count, and then if you continue, if you get all 6 dice that match over however many turns, then you bank those and you do it again and hit them with all of your. Excuse me. I'm all choked up about Boots. If you bank them and then they count towards another roll, you can start rolling a new 6 dice and go from there. If you fail, it's kind of like a Farkle or I forget what the actual term for it is, but then you lose and you don't get to do any damage. Over time, different things build up. You can get like poison damage and fire damage, stuff like that. Again, I'm only very early on. I've only really even played with a couple runs with 2 different characters, and they've both been really good. But that's essentially the loop: is that you're getting more and more items and trinkets. You're getting different kinds of dice that do different damages. Certain dies, if you roll them and you get a 6. It instantly grants 3 poison, or certain ones, if you roll them, you instantly, if you roll a 5 on this particular dice that you've added to your inventory, you get a bonus dice that comes out. So lots of cool mechanics. I've barely scratched the surface of what I'm sure is a very deep game, but it's called Dice with Death, and it's pretty cool so far. So I will continue to check it out and let you know. You know I'm a sucker for these types of games, these like endless runs, try them over and over, roguelike kind of things. I don't know why they appeal to me so much. This one in particular appeals to me, along with many of the other ones, because like you can just do a little bit. You can just play it for a few minutes and put it down again if you need to. So, taking a little break for lunch, pop in for 10 minutes, do a run. Maybe a run takes a little longer than that, depending on how well you do, but it's pretty cool. The next thing is Crimson Dessert, as I typed again. I still don't have a whole lot more to say about this because I think last week I mentioned that the only thing I've really been doing is bounties. I've just been going around getting bounties and then hunting them down. I only got to play a few hours this week, but that is what I've continued to do. I've just been doing the same thing, just running around getting bounties off of light posts and different places that they're hung up in town and then hunting down the bounties. I don't know why I'm stuck on doing that so much, other than that it's really good money in the game. I don't even know if money is that important because I haven't explored that much. But I'm very much still just enjoying doing that and not much more. Then two games, mobile games. You guys know, as Dave has mentioned before, how we're such big, large mobile enthusiasts here on the show, and that is becoming less of a joke and more reality as we move forward and get older. I think have children who consume our times, consume our time. But I've been playing two games. One is called Horizon Chase. We talked about Horizon Turbo, I think it was last week. Was it Horizon Turbo? The Horizon game that Epic had a part in. Horizon Chase is similar to that as a spinoff. It is very much a racing game that is built for mobile, and it's really built for touchscreen. I've been playing it with my new controller, the Snap MCon, as I talked about last week. But it's a lot of fun. It's pretty challenging as well. You're racing. You're not only trying to get first place, but also to gather all the collectibles in the game at a certain time, and that's the only way you can 100% the level. Because the AI is racing against you just as competitively, you kind of have to do a track a few times before you really know where all the collectibles are, so that you can run over them. The strength and the strength and the weakness to this game, in my opinion, is the fact that oh my goodness, the strength and the disadvantage to this game is that because it's a mobile game, because it's meant to be played, it can be played with touchscreen, is that it's very forgiving. You don't have to be super accurate whenever you are going around corners and stuff like that. It'll kind of put you back into the lane where you need to be. But I feel like the game is more about knowing, when you can accelerate past someone, when you can use your turbo, your NOS to sail by them, where the collectibles are in the levels, how fast to take the turns, all that kind of stuff. So there's more strategy in there than there is actual like driving mechanics, but it works really well for a mobile game, in my opinion. That being said, I've not played almost any racing game on mobile ever, so take that with a grain of salt. It's a free to play game. There's lots of add-ons that you can buy for more tracks and stuff like that. I'm still working my way. I don't know. I put in quite a few hours. I'm still working through the free levels that you get. I think you get like 30 or 40 or 50 or something like that, free levels. But I've also been playing them, like I play through them, not only try to get first, but try to get all the collectibles and 100% before I move on to the next one. So that's a big part of it. As you complete different tracks and bonus levels and stuff like that, you can unlock cars and upgrades and everything like that for your car or for your character. So it kind of gives the game a good bit of longevity. From what I understand, the Horizon games we talked about last week on the show are available on Apple Arcade. So once I finish this one up, I'm probably just going to get Apple Arcade for a month or two, see how it goes, and check that out.
They're licensed cars, real cars, are they?
Are they
Yeah,
in Horizon Chase?
Yeah,
They don't detail that in any like strong way.
I don't
really
see like logos, but
Yeah.
I clearly saw a Lamborghini and I clearly saw a Dodge Viper and an NSX.
It never occurred to me that not only are the logos trademarked, but the actual car designs themselves probably are too, right? Yeah, that makes sense. The other game I've been playing is called Rocket League Sideswipe. I played some like regular Rocket League back on the PS4 and then on PC. I played, I don't know, a decent little clip of it. The reason I quit playing is because I was god awful at it, and I just never could compete with even non-competitive easy mode. Could never compete with anybody else playing the game. So I'm like, hey, here's a Rocket League on the phone. This will be easy, and I was wrong. Um, Rocket League on the phone. It's basically a horizontal screen where you're just going left and right and up and down. You can kind of boost up into the air just like you can in regular Rocket League, and your whole goal is to try to get the ball in the other net. I mean, it's Rocket League, right? But it's really interesting because they're live matches, so you're actually playing. You can play against AI as well, but you're actually playing against real people who are playing. And man, the amount of stuff you can do with if you're playing on controller, the left and right joystick, and then the A and B buttons or whatever they are on my controller to boost up into the air or to just hit the turbo is insane. So there have been most of the games I've played, which is probably about 10 total, I think 8 of them I got completely destroyed. I totally was a miserable failure and maybe scored 1 or 2 points as opposed to like 5 or 6 on the other team. And then, okay, so that's growing pains, whatever. There was one game where I did eke out a win, but it was not a pretty win. It was like by 1 goal. There was another game where I had 30 seconds remaining and I was down by 6. And I somehow came back and won the game in overtime with 7 points with only 30 seconds remaining. And it was really funny because the guy I was playing against was just like using the pre-built emotes that they give you, like the one that's kind of it's kind of a mocking emote. And he was just doing that over and over and over. And then I proceeded to score 7 unanswered goals in like 40 seconds total, including the overtime on him. And that felt really, really good considering that was my actual first win. So I still don't know if it was if the game just like something took over and controlled the car for me, because nothing clicked because I kept losing again after that. But it's a lot of fun. I don't know if it's something I'll stick with. I'm not Rocket League for whatever reason. I feel like I'm really good with, timing and with understanding angles and all the stuff that you need for Rocket League. And I've just never been good at Rocket League. So I don't know if I'll stick with it or not. I'm not interested in getting my butt beat constantly, but it's been a little bit of fun just to test out the new controller. And that's pretty much it for me. That's everything. I've just been, honestly, there's been a few nights in a row like this week where I've just like not played anything until maybe 1 a.m. Lockmort and Justin and Brad will roll online and ask me if I want to play a little bit of Overwatch. I hop in for a few matches and then we quit. And that's kind of all I've been doing, just kind of working and tinkering around with stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad your mobile controller is getting some work.
Dave, after that show last week where was it on the show or after? Brandon asked me about the controller and he looked it up. The reason I bought a white one. The controller comes in 2 colors. It comes in white and black. I wanted the black one, but it was $150, whereas the white one was $100. It was on sale. So I bought the white one, and then Brandon tells me last week after the show the black one's on sale for $100 as well. So I messaged the company, and I thought this is a long shot, but whatever. I said, could I trade it? I'll even pay for the shipping if you'll let me trade it for the black one. I figured it'd be $5 or something. And I don't know what system they were using, but either the person who I was writing to did not understand English, or it was the worst AI customer service of all time, because they came back to me like talking about how I have to be patient because the delivery times are, this and that, and it's been under that. I'm like, no, I already have it. Now, here's what I'm asking. Could you read my? And then they responded back and said, oh, sure, we can take a return. They didn't address the exchange part of it. We can take a return. You'll just have to pay for return shipping, and we'll reimburse you your money and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, that's not what I'm asking either. Like, I don't want to do that either. So I just gave up. I have a white controller. That's okay. It. Yeah, it's fine. It hasn't gotten dirty yet. So, Dave, I think that's all we have to talk about.
That's about it. Thank you all. Thank you, Boots.
Yeah, thank you, Boots. Appreciate it very much. And everybody else for being here, for hanging out. We appreciate that as well. Don't forget, you can hang out with us on Patreon, patreon.com/handsomephantom. Sign up for as little as $1 a month, ad-free early access to the show, or just to support the boys. And then on Discord, you can hang out with us as well over at handsomephantom.com/Discord. Appreciate you all. We'll see you next week. Hopefully we'll all 3 be here. And otherwise, keep it moist.
Happy gaming.
That's something Dave always says to me.
Keep it moist.
Yeah. All right. Goodbye, everybody.